Hey, Gaybros Blake.
Hey, Gaybros Jose.
Where are we today?
I am in San Francisco, where it is actually warm.
Okay. And I'm in Chicago. That by Chicago standards is pretty fucking hot. Because it's like 55.
That's actually a nice weather. I like that weather.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nice. The weather has been nice. It's been like a bit rainy, a bit like grumpy and the lights. It's starting to have like a bit more of a not summer, but spring days. So we're going to have like 70s days soon.
I feel like this should be Gaybros Go to Dive Bars to talk about cinema/weather, but
we don't go to dive bars anymore.
Right. Well, that's part pandemic, part your fault because you left me. But you've never lived in America in a place that has seasons, so this is kind of new for you.
No, I mean, I love it. I honestly love it. I just think that it's interesting to just knowing what are you going to be like finding when you leave your place. Like in San Francisco, that you know that you're going to be like finding 4 seasons in just a single day.
Yeah, I walk to work now, and it's 30 minutes each way, and I just can never figure out what the correct jacket is to wear. I'll either be drenched in sweat by the time I get to work or freezing. I don't know.
I don't miss that. But again, guys, talking about missing or not missing, what did we watch this time?
This was my pick. I picked a movie called 9 Days, not 8, as I tried to find a movie called 8 Days before finally finding 9 Days. And I know you're going to ask me why I picked this. I can't remember. I think that I was just browsing like cinema news, and I came across this on a list of movies that you should check out. And I remember when it was in theaters, I think last year or maybe even the year before, when it came to San Francisco, we really wanted to see it, but we never got to it before we left. So I just picked it because I saw it on the list.
So nothing like personal connection or anything that you really wanted to watch. It was a bit more of I didn't get to watch it.
I was intrigued by the reviews when it came out. It said this was a special sort of film, an unforgettable type of film, something new. And so I was like, I'll give a film like that a chance. I actually don't even know what it has on Rotten Tomatoes. Should have checked.
It's fine. It's 89.
Okay.
So as this was a pick, I think that I should summarize this. I'm going to make it like pretty short, but basically we are presented with some kind of pre-life world where actually we have like a couple of characters. Well, a main one, Winston Duke Will, that he actually interviews candidates for just being born. And the interview process, it actually takes 9 days. And he starts like he eliminates people at some points. He presents like some exercises. There is no clear criteria, and he basically is his goal. And we are not given like any kind of indication about like if there is like a right way or a bad way of choosing people. The movie actually opens with one of the people that he sent to where to live, that person is a violin player, that woman.
Yeah, like a very successful violinist.
Yeah. And she actually dies in a car accident, like just crashing against a wall. That's the only thing that we know at the beginning. He gets obsessed into that. He doesn't want anyone else to just like send it to Earth and then just die on the same kind of situation. So the whole story is like just basically a process of those 9 days for just picking her replacement. And we have the cast is pretty good. I have to say, it's like Winston Duke. I remember seeing him in Us. That he did a good job there. Sassy Peach, she's from Atlanta. Benedict Wong is from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And then I never remember his name, but
sorry?
Tony Hale. I always want to say Josh Hale.
Oh yeah, you mean Buster from Arrested Development?
Mm-hmm. He did other things. He's also in Veep, okay?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, with another very serious character.
And then, of course, my boyfriend's brother, Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, not the most handsome of the Skarsgårds.
The Pennywise of the Skarsgårds, if you will.
Yeah. Still handsome, but creepy handsome.
I was amused that I got to watch The Northman, and this movie in the same week, and I'm like, no, I picked the right Skarsgård.
Yeah, you did. But do you think that summarized the movie? I mean, I can actually just go into how it ends.
The only thing I would say, and you basically said that, is that a lot of the exercises that he presents to the candidates are showing human situations and seeing how they would react, like crime or violence or injustice, and just seeing their reaction to it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so basically also like all the characters that they are like just competing for that position, they're basically souls. They are like just archetypes of personalities without the history context of them. It's a bit more like they just are more shy, they are like more open, they are more loving, they are more, I don't know, like aggressive.
I'm going to give away a little bit about how I feel about the film in the sentence, but in this case, I think archetype is a very nice way to say stock character.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is not about like developing anything at all. Is that the only ones, and they repeat it over and over, is that the main character, like Will, is like he is an interviewer. He's I don't know, like a like the selector or whatever you want to call it, because he was alive.
Yes, and he has an assistant that he kind of looks down upon because the assistant never was alive.
And there is other stuff. I will tell you something. I find the movie easy to watch. Now, I think that it has like several problems, some of them like just based on their perspective around how people live their lives, and especially suicide. And second, I'm not a big believer of all this kind of metaphysics souls aspect about like just saying that the kind of person that you're going to be is a bit more like predestined about like some aspects that are outside of who you are physically on Earth.
I don't have a rejection of films that explore metaphysical themes. And while this isn't like a completely original film, I find it a little bit refreshing that they're focusing on like what I would call the pre-existence instead of like the afterlife. But as you mentioned, we're not really given any criteria about, or like, we don't understand why who is picked. And not that you have to do that. It's not that I feel like you have to explain everything away, but it didn't really like shed any lights onto anything really. It was just like, okay, there's this flawed being who's going to choose other flawed beings to have a chance at life.
Yep, that's it. Now you just take it or not, you know. And I have to say is that the interpretations are fine. There is nothing wrong with it. The script is engaging enough for just keep you watching for 2 hours. I wasn't like too bored, but I wasn't like too engaged with any of the characters either. I was like, sure. Even like with the really moving scenes, because when he actually decides that someone is not continuing the process of these 9 days, is that this person, I mean the selector Will, he actually offers them, is that, hey, if you want, just choose like your favorite moment and I will recreate it for you, like the favorite moment that they have seen from the rest of the people that they are living on Earth, because they are like observing them through some very old school VCR screens. And he does it in a way that it really reminded me to the low-cost fantasy heartwarming experience of Gondry in Be Kind Rewind.
I actually don't remember that specifically, but I believe you.
It's exactly, that's what the movie is about like recreating Lethal Weapon, Ghostbusters, Die Hard, you know, with very, very low cost and only 2 people.
Because they recorded over everything.
Exactly. This is like by the book, like a heartwarming movie.
So I do want to. So I'm not sure how many spoilers we want to give away, I think we can.
It's 2 years old, and it's a very minor movie, It's like, from my perspective, if I had to say, it's like, did you watch it or not? For me, I'm going to be giving away like this question. Is like, if it's playing on TV, and you don't have anything else better to do, sure, just watch it. Don't go out your way to watch this.
So I do think it's an interesting revelation, and it's not even that far into the film. This isn't like giving away the ending, but we find out that his favorite soul that he sent to Earth, violinist, she actually killed herself, which is really, really disturbs him. And the other thing that really annoyed me was ultimately the decision comes down between two different people, and I won't give away which two people, because that, if anyone wants to see it, that would really just whatever. It's fine. I'm just not going to say it. But the person he doesn't choose, he offers that same, hey, I can give you a one-time experience to, for you to enjoy before essentially you stop existing, which is what do they explicitly say that, or it's just implicit?
Oh no, we see it. People stop existing. Yeah.
So that character writes down on a piece of paper what she wants, and he reads it and says, no, I can't do that, you have to choose something else. And you think there's going to be some sort of mystery or like some sort of reveal, and they just never address it.
No, you know what it is, dude. This movie doesn't hold any cards up their sleeve. It's that everything's looking at the camera about like.
Yes, that's my point, is that you always think something interesting is about to happen, and it just never happens.
It's very face value. It's the kind of thing that is you can see like the screenplay is written by someone that doesn't have like too much experience. There is no subtlety. Everything is like just like completely out there. And I was like just trying to make it like more enjoyable, like just making jokes, like cracking jokes when he actually moves like the paper, and he says like, hey, I brought all my favorite moments all around the house, and he starts like just going around, like just finding the moments, and he's like, look, that motherfucker is thinking, they say, I made such a special thing. And Will, what he's thinking is that I had to clean this whole fucking house now, because they actually brought with permanent pencil. That's not special. That's fucking stupid for something that is only going to be like existing, a creature that only exists for 9 days tops. I just feel it's like those moving movements that is like, and besides that, it's so heavy-handed on the music, about like the violins of feelings that they use. I felt like infuriated every single time that they were playing.
And also there's this grand, it's not even grand. I just kept waiting for it to be like blown away by some sort of revelation or turn of events. And there's this ending that you can tell the scriptwriter, who is also the director, thought would just blow everyone away. And it was just like, no. I don't get it. I don't get this film. I don't. I think it's bland. I don't think it didn't give me any new ideas. It didn't make me think about things differently. And it was only mildly entertaining.
I could say it infuriated me because the character, and here comes a spoiler, is like from half of the movie you actually just can infer that he was too good for this world, and he actually committed suicide. So that's the reason why he gets so affected by Amanda, that human that he selected, and she actually remembers him when she was a child. Is that she committed suicide too. Is that he gets like really, really affected by that. But he's afraid about like just sending to Earth someone else that is going to be like ending like that. That is going to be like committing suicide because they are like too good for that world. The thing is, I have a problem on actually like just minimizing people to these kind of factors about like just saying that, hey, you have a soul that potentially is like too good for this world and they will end up on this situation, instead of saying that, hey, society is going to be like making you or breaking you. You may have like a genetical disposition for just being one way or another, but there is nothing before your birth that is going to be like dictating where you're going to end.
And so I hear your opinion, and for me that didn't even cross my mind because I just didn't
want to read into it.
Care. I mean, it's like, oh,
whatever.
So maybe we had traits before we were born. This is if you obviously believe in a pre-existence, afterlife, whatever. But I was like, and so what if we do, and so what if we don't? Or I guess he's saying that nature is more important than nurture.
Yeah, I really say.
So explain to me the guy who chose Jeffrey Dahmer to go down to this earth instead of some other normal person they interviewed.
No, it makes no sense.
Because he would have been a serial killer in the pre-existence, because you're the same.
Oh, but maybe it's like the interviewer was like someone that committed suicide, and they wanted to say like someone that it was tougher to Earth.
So he could kill 14 of the other people sent her.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was such a disappointment. And I have to say, I didn't even have high hopes. I thought it would be interesting just based on what I'd read about it. But I wouldn't call this an interesting movie.
So the same year in 2020, Soul was released. Soul was a movie that was supposed to be released like the year before, but with the beginning of the pandemic and everything like just got mangled. Soul is exactly this. It's exactly like how souls like become complete and just having some kind of interest for life. So the main character played by Tina Fey, that it takes over the body of Jamie Foxx. Yeah, it's Tina Fey taking over the body of a black guy. That there was some controversy about that.
It's not blackface if it's animated.
That's true. And the thing is that we never see like the body of Tina Fey. Is that there is like a blob, anything else. There is nothing else. But she doesn't want to get born. It's like, I don't see like what is so big about Earth. And like rather live in this kind of limbo, this metaphysical limbo. And she actually discovered like the magic of the small things and how important it is to just enjoy them. Exactly the same as one of the characters in this movie. But it's a bit more about like, I felt peace when I watched that movie. It's like, look, I love Inside Out. I think that you watched Inside Out.
Yeah, I did.
I love it. I feel like, hey, this is like a good, like interesting way of portraying like psychological simple concepts, and it's like, it works because we all understand how psychology works. I mean, like some of these aspects. But Soul, I just felt offended because I don't think that nature matters that much. I think that it's like nurture, as you said before, is what matters. And just making me watch like for 2 movies something like this, as is like transcendental, is almost as stupid as just seeing a soldier playing chess with the death.
That is transcendental, but we'll not get into that. Yeah, I can't think of a better word as intranscendental to describe this movie. It just was like something you should watch on an airplane if you have a little bit of like fear of flying, because it's just enough to distract you. There's nothing dramatic, there's no conflict, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't have like a bad time watching it. It was a bit more of a it's like the scenes are cute, like the scenes when they are like just playing like the fantasy of the guys. Is that these are cute. The monologue at the end, it was fine.
Exactly, it's fine, but it should have, if the first hour and 50 minutes were going to be that insignificant, that should have been a knockout scene, and I would have said, okay, this was worth it for this, and it was just like, no.
Oh yeah, no, the emotional payoff wasn't there. This was a bit more that they prepare you for that monologue. You're going to hear it at some point in the movie, and for that being like the end, I was telling my boyfriend, it's like, to begin with, this could have been like a single take. To begin with, I don't know if the actor is talented enough for just doing like a single take or something like this. And then it was like, it doesn't give me anything. I mean, I just feel like you could have removed this from the movie and just doing like a dance, like a tap dance or something. I would have taken like the same thing from this movie.
I would have found it personally way more profound is an exaggeration, because there is zero that's profound about this film, in my opinion. But I would have found it more moving had the one character that almost made it, but then was sent away, and that person just walks into the desert, that would have been a more poetic ending to show, hey, shit's like up to chance. Like there's no objective criteria about whether you're going to live or be a good person or whatever, and there's no point to anything. Yep. Instead of, I feel like they tried to, well, it's in like the last third of the movie where they tried to make it about regrets and not living life to the fullest in certain ways, and it's like, find sentiments, but find an interesting way to tell me that, because this was not, like, we've all given up on dreams. This is not new. This is not, I don't know.
It's not going to be like Seji, you know, it's like, I just feel like there is nothing inherently wrong about this movie, but it is a movie that no one will remember.
Oh yeah, 100% forgettable. And I'm pissed because I had to fucking buy it on Amazon for $12.99, and I never would have spent $12.99 on.
Wait, you didn't get like the $4.99 a month thing?
It didn't suggest it to me. I only realized it when you told me, and I wouldn't have done it anyway because I had been burned by those stupid like Amazon free trial subscriptions, and then I forget about it for 3 months, and I would have paid $12.99 anyway.
That's true. That's fair. As someone that just paid for Showtime for 6 months without realizing, that's true. I completely get it, dude. My boyfriend got it, you know, and I was like, no, wait, and I said, well, he just got it. He just click, and he's like, sure, yeah, whatever. This movie, en masse, they were like opera primas for 2 different directors that they were also screenwriters, like the first time that they were doing like a full feature movie. Do you expect that this guy would do anything after this?
So my answer is yes, because if you read the reviews about this movie, they use terms like knockout, the film of the summer. It won. So this was a Sundance movie. It won a prestigious award at Sundance.
It was 2020. Remember that it was 2020. It was the first year of the pandemic.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, yes, the guy will have at least the opportunity to make another film. I don't know if it'll be good. I don't suspect it will be good. I mean, the guy knows directing. You can tell there's some talented direction behind this. And I was looking at his IMDb page. I don't think he's done a feature film before. I think they're all shorts.
Yeah, they were all shorts. It was the first one.
Yeah, so I will not be watching whatever he makes next. Not because this is a bad film. It's an uninteresting film.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. I'm not interested about like anything. I mean, the thing is like this is a, how do you say, like Japanese Brazilian director. And I just felt it's like, hey, look, with the kind of, I don't know, like heritage that you have, you can do like something like so interesting, and I feel like this was not it.
No, it wasn't.
This is like just a step above from a Hallmark TV movie.
100%. And I hate to say this because I do love Sundance, but Sundance has a great history of honoring mediocre films. Really good shit comes out of Sundance, but most of the time I feel like the things that win awards, they're like, like in a year it's like, this was forgotten. I mean, not Reservoir Dogs, not like a lot of good stuff comes out of Sundance. I'm not trying to say it's a bad festival. I'm just saying this is the kind of like just outside of the mainstream, but not really outside of the mainstream, that they like to say, oh, this is art.
Yeah, and if there is someone, you know, like listening from the Sundance organization, it's like, we are not sitting on this festival. It's like, we would love to go invited to it.
Yeah, let's just send the press passes.
Yes, please, yeah. Should we go over the questions?
Yep.
Questions. 1 second. I was not prepared. Because I actually told you at the beginning is that I'm really curious to hear how you feel. Because when I was watching it yesterday with my boyfriend, I was telling him is that, look, no one is being unhappy. There is no one suffering. And there is no kind of high artistic expression. Is that like he's going to hate this?
I did, yeah, I watched it in two separate sessions. I watched about an hour and 10 minutes the first time, and I was like, I'm bored. I need a break from this.
I have to say that watching it with someone else made it more palatable. You know, if I had to watch it by myself, I think that I would have been like just bored, not bored, but it's like feeling that why am I watching this? Isn't there anything else that I can be doing right now with my time?
But you do feel like it was better than Let's Be Cops, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like with this one, honestly, I feel like just partially engaged. Is that it was 2 hours, but to me, it didn't feel like 2 hours. But when you watch a movie with someone, it becomes more engaged.
I might be able to see that. I really wanted to watch it with my husband. He's actually the one that really wanted to see it when it was in theaters. But often when you and I choose a movie to watch and he's like, oh, I want to watch that with you, he pushes it off until I have to watch it at work on Wednesday because I waited for him. So now I'm just like, no, I'm just watching the movie.
Yeah, no, I give like a deadline about like if by Tuesday we haven't watched it, I will watch it by myself. That's it. So would you watch it again?
Nope, never again.
I mean, I had to say, as I told you earlier, if I'm on a plane, you know, and you cannot choose like your personal entertainment, then first I will be asking what are my priorities, and second, I may watch it because I think that this is better than just like staring at the ceiling or staring through the window on a plane.
I would read the safety pamphlet over and over again before I watch this movie.
I'm just thinking what Taylor Durden could do to that pamphlet.
Yeah, what I wish it was the Fight Club version of the
Yeah, that's the what I say, like Taylor Durden. Would you recommend it?
Nope. I mean, I want to reiterate, this is not a bad movie. It's not poorly made. It's just uninteresting, and I would not recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm trying to think like any kind of very, very specific circumstance that someone were to ask me, say, hey, can you just give me like a metaphysical movie that they talk about existence before life? And I think that at that point my answer would be no, because I won't remember this.
It's interesting because another metaphysical movie that came out of Sundance that I loved is Beast of the Southern Wild. And I would recommend that, but it's not technically about the pre-existence.
Is it supposed to, indirectly?
No, but it's very metaphysical, and like they're literally beasts that come out of like frozen ice, and it's very much like wondering who people are and what they do and what the meaning of them is.
So it's more metaphorical than metaphysical.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to do with the metaphysical.
I mean, I watched it in the cinema, but as I didn't have subtitles, I didn't understand like about the movie. It's like when I just moved to the States and I was like, what is this? No one in this city in San Francisco speaks like that. I have no idea.
It's in like the bayou in Mississippi.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I was like,
no, I know, but it's like for me, it's like I just moved to the States, and it's like this has to be a different planet because I never heard this accent before.
I actually saw that movie with the star of that movie, Kavan Janae.
Oh, nice.
Got nominated for an Oscar, and she was to talk to.
Yeah, and she was actually like the youngest nominated actress. Ever.
Probably before that, it was
Anna Paquin, the won it.
And she was nominated for True Blood, right?
Yeah, it was not even a movie, but it's like, yeah, it's Anna Paquin, just bring it on. And X-Men, yeah, just bring it on. Just imagine that is like the first thing that you actually do on your career is the piano player. You win an Oscar. The piano.
The piano player is a very different
one. Okay. I always doubt which one is what because it's like the pianist is like the one with Adrian Brody.
Yes.
The Polanski movie. And imagine that you start your career there. There is no way up.
I mean, True Blood, but whatever.
Let's be honest. But yeah, so would you remember it?
I will remember probably to the extent of the synopsis you gave. There's a guy interviewing people for a chance to come to Earth, and he chooses one of them.
So you say yes. You say yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Okay, I'm going to do something. My answer is definitely not. This is like the definition of a movie that I won't remember in 6 months. So I'm going to be like setting an alert for the 10th of November for just asking you the 9th of November, if you remember what was this about.
All right, that's fair.
And by the way, I have like other alerts on the calendar that they're going to be like coming up like pretty soon about like if you remember. Yeah, this is for me is the definition of a forgettable film. It's like the premise is not bad. The premise is like interesting, but I don't feel like the ethical conundrum comes across in any kind of way. Is not elevated. You could have done like something more interesting if you have like a good screenwriter, but this is just bland, as you said.
There's almost no conflict. I mean, the conflict is the interview guy versus his regrets. Like, that's it.
Yep, that's a good idea. Is there anything artistic about it?
It's beautifully shot. There's a clear artistic vision. The desert is breathtaking. I think the director gets a lot out of the actors when there's enough in the script to get things out of. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking film for sure.
Yeah, I'll go with this. I also really like that those scenes when he's recreating like the beach or the bike ride. You know, it's like it's nice. It's like he actually does like quite a bit with very low budget.
Yeah.
You know, because it's that there is like 10 actors total, and there is never more than 4 actors on the screen ever. So from that perspective, it's like I just think that is well shot. A part of me is curious what he could do with a better screenwriter, but I didn't see. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we talk about this all the time. There are very few directors who should be writing their own scripts, and admittedly, this is his first film, but I would say he is not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know if I have seen like his character, you know, like something. He's a staple. He's like, oh yeah, this is the vision that I have. Is that the vision that I saw is like, it's cool, but there is nothing here that I haven't seen before. It's beautiful,
but it's not even really that cool. It's unremarkable in almost everything.
It's almost like by the book kind of thing. You know, it's almost like by the book about like how to make like something that is like visually appealing with very low budget. Is it a timeless piece?
I mean, it's certainly not timely. There's nothing that makes it relevant to today. I would say this is tough because yes, whatever ideas it doesn't explore but tries to, they're timeless.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yes is the answer for me.
The answer for me is also yes, because it's timeless, but it's not important.
Yeah, well said.
It's like there is nothing important about this movie. It's like just pure entertainment. That it can be forgotten, it can be like just put in the back of your mind, it can be like just being watched on a plane. I love that definition. And your life moves on, nothing gets affected. You know, it's like your soul is already predefined to keep being whatever it is.
That's actually an interesting point. I feel like the script needs to be tweaked regardless, but this could be an interesting stage play, I think.
I wouldn't want to watch it because I don't think that there is anything interesting about it.
Well, that's why I'm saying they would have to make some sort of bigger conflict or bigger like reveal, but this would work well with a few different sets, just because it's very character driven.
Yeah. I mean, it's like basically reminded me of Mash. and I thought that you actually recommended like both of them like back to back because you actually had watched this one and it was a bit more. No, I knew that you hadn't watched it, but it was a bit more of a they're like both like minimalistic movies, you know, that they could be done in a theater play. And I just felt like, yeah, this could be a theater play. Mass, I think that it would be easier to salvage compared to this.
I don't think you would have to make any changes to Mass to make it an excellent play.
Sure. Actually made that the other day. Someone, I don't think that he's going to be listening to this podcast, but we were talking about cinema, and he was saying like, oh, you know that cinema around the corner, the one that did like the Villains retrospective. I'm a member of it. So I was like just joking with him about like, well, I'm a member of the James Scale Cinema, you know, it's like it's the one that doesn't play Everything Everywhere All at Once and the rest of the A24 greatest films. But you know, I just went to see a Stalker there, you know, and other stuff. But it's cool. You're supposed to theater. Yeah, that's fine. And I actually asking, I got to a point about like, this is the point that I had to make like my call if I think that his perspective aligns with mine about cinema, and I asked him about Mass. And he hadn't watched it.
Did you ask him to watch it?
I didn't. I prefer to actually just live in their ignorance about like maybe he has like an interesting perspective. Let's not actually just like throw a wrench into that. But this for me just felt like another indie film with very low budget trying to make something bigger out of the script. Mass, for me, it didn't work. I think that it would have been like way more. This, he didn't know how to make like something big or even like getting close to it.
Yeah.
The idea is not bad, but you have to have like a very smart script for making this important, and it was not even close.
Yep.
Could you turn this into a TV show?
Absolutely not. I'd turn this into like a 20-minute short.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you. I think that there is not enough, because half of the characters disappear and it gets to a point that it's like, what is in 9 days? Because half of the days they're like just watching the TV.
Yeah,
no. So do you think that this movie could have been better?
I mean, yeah, there has to be a scriptwriter out there that can be like, hey, here's an interesting twist, or here's a way we can make the audience think about things, or yes, I don't know what it is exactly, but there's some substance here. It's just like you said, the director didn't know how to take it over the finish line. He started the race, didn't finish.
Yeah, I have a question for you. What do you think that Charles Kaufman would have done with this?
He would have made it like a morbid humor, a morbid comedy.
Because I don't know. I mean, I just felt like this is something like it could have been taken into a bit more of a cerebral, into a cerebral kind of aspect to it. And maybe it would have been interesting.
I don't know. Like, I see the point of the exercise, but like Charlie Kaufman is all about absurdity. It's like absurdist film, and I don't know how adding absurdity to this would really make us think about what does it mean to be human. What is the opportunity to be on Earth and live? What is that? I don't know that he's the right guy to make me really think about that.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think that there is like a good actor out there. Sorry, a good screenwriter. This guy is not. This guy, he tried to bite more than he can chew. It's just mild entertainment.
Yep.
So before we go into scoring this, I wanted to ask you about a movie that we was like some time ago, and see if you remember it. It's called Le Boucher.
Nope, nothing is coming to mind. Literally nothing. I can't think of an actor, a plot, director.
Let me just give you it's from 1970. It's French, and it's about it's like a thriller kind of thing, a small village in France.
I didn't see anything. Okay.
Yeah, and the main character, he's a butcher in a small shop, and there start to be like some murders in the city of young girls.
I got nothing, man.
Nothing at all. Okay. Yeah, I start to remember it too. And there is a girl that falls in love with him, and the city discovers that he's the murderer, and he lives in a small, like, how do you say, like a school.
And there's like a school trip out into. I remember this now, but when you asked me and gave me a plot description, no.
Well, because the thing is, like, I was thinking that there was like that scene on the school, that where she actually realizes like he is the one murdering the girls, and she's like a serial killer that he cannot control that impulse. Is like there is like the extremely tense, masterfully directed scene there.
And I think that I picked it right because I really like the films of Claude. I'm probably saying his name wrong, Claude Chabrol.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to watch something earlier from him.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Yeah. And it was. I just remember like this was good. I don't remember it was like exceptional, but I'm pretty sure that if we were to just say if we will remember it or not, it would be no.
It's funny because I don't remember it from the perspective of the butcher. I remember it from the perspective of the kids and the teacher that go on that hike. Like that is vivid in my mind. But when you say the butcher, I clearly didn't connect the title to the film.
Yeah, because I think there is like the romantic interest. She's the teacher.
Yep.
For the group. Yeah. Okay, man. So just coming back to 9 days, should we score it?
Let's do it.
So I have to say that my score has gone a tiny bit down since we started talking, and it's going to be a 5.5.
That is literally my score. I didn't think of a score before coming in. I wanted this conversation to see where it went. But no, I think this is just a half point above mediocre for me.
I mean, for me, it's a bit more of a 6 is good. And yesterday is what I was thinking about, like, 6.5. And then I was thinking about like how pissed I felt about like the oversimplification of who we are, and even like the implicit judgment about like committing suicide is like a way of giving up. And it's like, I'm not justifying suicide in any kind of way, but also at the same time I don't want to, like, I don't know, like just giving reasonings that they're outside of the society. I don't want to wash my hands as a society that we are like just pushing over the fence like individuals to go there.
Right, and this was not the point of the movie, but it didn't take into account, hey, maybe she was brutally raped for 10 years by someone, or maybe she had really intense chemical imbalances in her head that made her manic depressive. It's not like just, oh, this talented violin player wasted her chance.
It's it's I don't know, I just felt, I won't say insulted, but I would say it could have been better.
It could have been a lot better. I didn't feel insulted. It's not a stupid movie. And again, sorry for repeating myself 400 times. It's just unremarkable. That's it. It's uninteresting.
But just think that you are a director, and you actually think about like, hey, what am I going to be doing with my first movie? And it's like, this is your dream project?
And it's independent. There was no studio being like, hey, make this more palatable.
Yeah, I don't know, man. we don't have to actually just beat the dead horse. Is that this is not a touring horse. Is that there is not emotional payoff. It was only 2 hours. You didn't have to, fall asleep. The movie was not torturing you, but at the same time, it was not giving you anything.
And you didn't even have to think, because there's nothing to think about.
No, because there is no resolution. There is no moral questioning, gray areas, nothing at all. It's just that. Yeah, I feel.
What are we gonna watch next then?
I'm so torn, dude. I'm so torn. I gave you like so many options before we started recording, and just like a spoiler alert for our audience, next week we're going to be like recording face to face. So I wanted to make like something special. I wanted to make like something that I think that there is going to be like more value if we discuss it like face to face more than actually here. And I know you're going to hate me for this because it's the first one that I told you. But it has been like forever on the list. That movie is one of my biggest guilty pleasures. And if you want, we can watch it together.
So you're saying you already don't think it's a good film because you feel guilty about liking it?
I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's like a super enjoyable movie. And it has like many, many things going on for it that we can discuss about it. But I was saving this for like a round episode, but let's just watch Rocky Horror Picture Show.
All right. I've never seen it. From what I've seen, I don't suspect I'm going to like it, but I have an open mind. Maybe I'll come back and give it a 10. Maybe it's the new La Ventura.
I don't think so. But you may surprise me. Who knows? Okay, but anything else? Anything else to say about 9 Days?
So I don't think we should waste any more time on this. Not ours, not our listeners. Let's just close this chapter, move on to the next.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to us. Anything else that I should do?
Wash your hands, maybe?
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe a difference.
Yeah, just follow your city ordinance and whatever the Supreme Court says until they overrule it. Who knows? All right. Bye.